Welcome to Yankees Unloaded. This is Gary Sheffield Jr. No Jake Ellenbogen. We pray for his 30 megabit internet with the crazy storms in upstate, but we won 15-3. It looked like a score out of Monday Night Football. I was never skipping this show. Now with Ben Rice looking the way that he's looking, I'm going solo. But if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. We're diving into Ben Rice and obviously Carlos Rodon, who's been really solid for these Yankees these past few starts. We got some stuff from the others. Stepped up at the plate, guys like Bellinger, Anthony Volpe, Cabrera, each had their day in the sun this afternoon. We got a little quick injury update, real quick hitter here. Jazz Chisholm and DJ LeMahieu, for whatever that last part's worth. Jazz having left the first inning of this one with a right oblique strain. Expected testing Thursday, and LeMahieu with a cortisone shot in his hip. Apparently they wanted to get ahead of it. Don't know many people who were excited about his return, but obviously we don't want to see him hurt. So let's actually start with Ben Rice, okay? Because I'll tell you this. Ben Rice at this point, is he a star now? No. A lot of people think that, in my opinion. When you call somebody a star, that means you're getting consistent output from somebody over a long period of time. That's a star. But as far as output, Ben Rice is doing everything, okay? This player 3 for 5 today, 2 jacks. Obviously, Kyle Gibson stood no chance, to be quite honest with you. This is just a skill standpoint. But this player looks different. Ben Rice, the swings, more connected, more straight to the baseball, not necessarily committing to the power game, making adjustments. Doesn't look like a young player up there. Looks like a young Freddie Freeman. Is he Freddie Freeman? Surely not. Freddie Freeman's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. But anytime you can look at a player and say he doesn't have many holes in his swing this early in someone's career, it means a lot. And so it begs the question, what do the Yankees do with this player? Obviously, people have said that the Yankees don't trust, at least in the scouting report, third base. They also can't put him at first base. Your first baseman right now, and Paul Goldschmidt's hitting .380. What do you do now? Well, designated hitter is clearly open, but not for long. Giancarlo Stanton is set to return, maybe not soon, but at some point, and he had a big October last season. So what do the Yankees do? My opinion, guys, is that Ben Rice is reaching that territory where he's a pencil in. He's no longer a conversation of where do we put him. It's just put him in, and then whoever has to be collateral against that, so be it. There are not many players in this lineup on paper who can do what Ben Rice is doing currently. So that's why I give him the nod. I've seen our chat, third base, first base, DH. I've seen it all, but there's no reason whatsoever for this player not to play every single day. And there's a reason. And at first I thought it was funny, but my mom would always text me, "Where's Ben Rice today?" And I had no real answer. I would always say that there must be a reason they wanted Paul Goldschmidt up there against a left-handed pitcher. They wanted somebody else out there against it for DH. There's no real answer. Ben Rice is the answer. He's the best player that the Yankees have going out there in those given positions. He is a huge crutch for Aaron Judge. He's a huge protection, and you can put him up there at the leadoff position. He can handle it. Not often can you say that about a young player. So where do we go from here with Ben Rice? I think Aaron Boone has a clear decision. We're now reaching into territory where this is going to be our long-term DH until next season. When Paul Goldschmidt is no longer a Yankee and they decide Ben Rice has got to play every day, he's got to play somewhere, it's likely first, well then unfortunately you got to say sayonara to Goldschmidt, who will be 38 years old, and you give that full-time position to Ben Rice. So interesting problem, good problem to have, but nevertheless is a problem. And I want to transfer this conversation to Carlos Rodon, but before we do that, I want to get to some super chats from Apex. Says the Yankees told the Mets to hold their beer. Yeah, we put on quite the performance today, didn't we? The Yankees look good. We did say in our ProfitX picks that the Yankees were going to get to business today offensively, and obviously Rodon is going to do his thing. Really good matchup against Baltimore. We liked his command these last few starts, and he's looked sensational. So, yeah, thank you for the super, Apex. We really appreciate that. I want to throw your other super up there as well real fast. Well, actually, it just disappeared on me. Oh, there we go. Okay. So, here we go. So Rodon can keep his beard, finally. So we're finally getting some trust in Carlos Rodon. And obviously we're about to dive into that. And Williams' better shave. I think a lot of folks actually agree with that. But in all seriousness, let's dive into Carlos Rodon and what we saw today. Okay, Carlos Rodon. I think the best way to describe this start was perfection, okay? And he obviously had a perfect game going there in the 6th inning, but he had the sinker going. The 4-seam command was there. I've talked about it many times. The slider, that changeup, the Yes broadcast mentioned it many times, was working. Average exit velo on that changeup, under 70 miles an hour. So that's sensational. It's a pitch that he needs to be able to go to, especially against right-handed bats, especially right-handed power bats. And obviously when the Yankees throw up a 5-spot offensively, you now need to adapt your game plan. The Yes, again, brought this up. You need to pitch to contact. You can't be walking guys, giving up big innings. He wasn't chasing stats. He wasn't chasing strikeouts. He was pitching to contact with that sinker, and it got him deeper into this game. 6 full innings, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 7 Ks. He was the real deal. And this is sort of what the Yankees were hoping for when you spend that type of money. So obviously good for us that actually transpired the way that it did. And I see another super from Alex Reyes. Alex, welcome back to the chat. Says Carlos Rodon stats are actually pretty good. Completely agree. And mind you guys, we don't have a hard on in hating Carlos Rodon. This isn't in our best interest. We don't like that. All we've mentioned on this show is that the long-term data has to suggest that Carlos Rodon can be relied on, especially a player of this stature, a player that's paid this way. Well, his last 3 starts today, 6 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 7 Ks. Last start against Cleveland, at Cleveland, 7 shutout innings, right? Run prevention's the job. He did exactly that in Cleveland. At Tampa, so he's been on the road quite a bit. 6 shutout, 4 walks, didn't have his command, but didn't give up any runs. That's the job. Once again, guys, in division, that's a big start. But his whip over the course of this season is under 1 at 0.98. Total. His ERA is at 3.43. This is really the territory that I actually told you guys needs to occur for Carlos Rodon. He doesn't need to be Paul Skeens. He doesn't have to be prime Clayton Kershaw, where you look up at someone's ERA being a $1.50. We don't need that. We need him to give us this, where he can go 3 to 4 starts, highly serviceable, keep us in the game, allow our offense to do its work, which right now our offense is one of the top offenses in baseball, top in the American League. This is enough for the Yankees to go where they need to go with the addition of Max Fried. But we need this addition of Rodon more times than not, and more times than not right now, Rodon is giving us the business. He's doing what he's supposed to do. So I'm interested to see what the temperature is in the room on Rodon. What you guys are thinking about this player. Is this a long-term thing, or is this just some kidney stone that'll pass? It's interesting, to the very least. Alex Reyes with the super said first in Ks. Yes, he is. With, I believe, 52 or 53 against the AL, I'm surprised. I think a lot of us, maybe you weren't surprised about the strikeouts. That's not what's surprising. But his ability, I know he gave up the homer there in garbage time today, but his ability to have command and keep the ball in the ballpark, he's done that, guys, these last 3 or 4 starts. We've got to give him his flowers while he's here. And we can't just wait for his next bump in the road where we now bring that up. So we need to also remember when he's doing well, let's clap for the guy. And then obviously as time goes on, if we notice we're doing more clapping than booing, then maybe we should be happy about this player. And I'm going to wait. Obviously, I'm going to hold back at least a little bit. I can't say I have my full trust in Rodon, but he did give us a big start last October, and right now he's sort of living up to it. So kudos to Carlos Rodon. It's what we need. This Yankees team is essentially just waiting around for Schmidt to get his command, Luis Gil to return to this rotation, and the Yankees should be fine. But the real question, and this is the thing I think most people should have been excited about, were the others today in this lineup. And it's a name, there are a couple names that we've heard a lot, right? And people complaining about the output from some of these dudes. Cody Bellinger. Cody Bellinger took some of the best at-bats today that we saw. That's big time. 2 for 4 with a bomb, 2 walks, right? Anthony Volpe, 2 extra base hits. So for me, all I care about with these extras, right? With the other guys, they don't need to hit 350. We don't need to see some Paul Goldschmidt output or Aaron Judge, right? Or even Ben Rice. We need something. You can't look at the 5 through 9 in the lineup and see 170. But what we have seen, better at bats, swinging at strikes, And yes, is it easier against a Kyle Gibson? Yeah, it's the reason we picked against him coming into this matchup. It is what it is. But you still got to go do it. And they did it. So that's my thing. We should be very happy about the offense today. I do see Williams saying that Rodon's still fragile. Until he shows us cracks in that armor, I can't suggest that, right? I mentioned in his previous starts when he struggled, we're going to bring this up. Okay, it's been 3 starts in a row now. You've struggled to keep the ball in the ballpark. It's no longer occurring. So while it's going the way it's going, let's clap, and then we'll, I guess, be reserved at least to some degree and say, let's see how this continues. Does it continue for a month? Does it continue into June, into July? Are we still looking at this version of Rodon that maybe isn't leading the race in a Cy Young, but we can say he's highly serviceable? I think we could do that. I think it's possible. But yeah, I agree with this comment a lot from Mike Smith. Cody Bellinger is a huge difference maker in this lineup. You didn't show up to this season and say, you know who's the key? Cody Bellinger. Because not many of us looked at Ben Rice as just going to be this key contributor. But as everyone starts to get in order in terms of contribution, now you say, okay, well, who's the issue? Well, is there a name that you guys are just like, yeah, I've got to have that guy behind Aaron Judge? If Judge is hitting 2, who's hitting 3? Oh, well, a lot of times we see Cody Bellinger there. A lot, right? We like to go righty, lefty. Well, Cody Bellinger's got to hit. It's got to be, right? Jazz Chisholm hasn't hit water if he fell out of a boat for the better part of 3 weeks. Well, if that's the case, they become very important. The others, very important for the Yankees to go where they need to go. Yeah, and so obviously Jalen Sestero with the comment, member here, he brings up, kind of funny, we've seen Jazz swinging too hard. He gets hurt, like taking a big swing, takes smaller swing, hits a triple. I think they changed the triple to a double, but I would agree, like, it's not funny that he got hurt. It's ironic, which I'm sure is your point, is that we've been asking for Jazz Chisholm to sort of adapt to the contact game, and the power numbers we would assume would still be there, right? Cody Bellinger, you saw him 2 for 4 today, a homer, 2 walks. Well, what was the big difference on screen, at least from my perspective? Certainly you guys saw the same thing. Well, his swing didn't look quite as big today. He looked a little bit more on balance. Is it easier to look on balance when you go 2 for 4 with a bomb? Sure. But what happens when you foul a ball off? What happens when you swing and miss? How did those swings look? And Cody Bellinger's swing and misses today looked better. And that's a good thing, right? Just yesterday, Jake mentioned how Jazz Chisholm's swing and misses, he does not look close to the baseball. That's not an indication of success, or at least knocking on the door towards success. This was a major step in the right direction for Cody Bellinger. And you just have to hope at some point, to some degree, he builds off of this. Is this his come out party? No. But stepping in the right direction, I know the Yes broadcast brought up the fact that he's hitting 200 now, and maybe he'll be able to relax his shoulders a little bit. I don't know. But it's got to feel a lot better than hitting 170. So, and as far as Anthony Volpe, I'll touch on him real quick here. Not going to waste too much of your guys' time. Anthony Volpe is trying to swing at strikes, right? Pitches he can attack, and he's getting results. Now, am I happy about Anthony Volpe offensively? Surely. Because if he's giving us anything offensively, if he's hitting 260, he's a major contributor for the Yankees. Defensively, he was great again today. Amazing play to his glove side to save a hit for Rodon early in this game. It matters. But Anthony Volpe has to show us for 3 or 4 weeks, for 6 to 8 weeks, he can look like this version of a player. Maybe not 2 hits every day, but a better, higher baseline for his at-bats. If he can do that, he can be, I guess you could say, not considered a bust. But this has got to be more long-lasting, and that's what I'm waiting on. I hope it happens. I genuinely am rooting for this kid, but, my mom says that she has faith in Cody. If you guys couldn't tell, I went to high school with Cody, so she's definitely rooting for the kid. But anyways, we're going to get to our ProfitX picks for tomorrow's contest. Baltimore's Cade Povich, the 25-year-old left-handed pitcher, is going against Cookie, Carlos Carrasco. I'm taking the under in this game. Under 9.5 runs scored. The Yankees tend to struggle against left-handed pitching. Cookie is probably going to go 3 or 4 in this game. He's been pitching well, but the Yankees do have a rested bullpen, right? Yarborough just yesterday went 3 full innings. Rest of the entire bullpen, we did not have to go to Weaver, and I can't necessarily say Williams, right? But you guys get the gist. Rodon went length today. No Weaver, no big guns in general. That should bode well for the Yankees preserving any lead that they have. It should be a relatively low-scoring game tomorrow. I know it's crazy to say that with Cookie, but if he gets in any trouble, the Yankees probably are taking him out of the game, given what the options are. And I'm taking the Yankees outright to win this game at -109. And then Cade Povich, I'm taking the over, believe it or not, on strikeouts at 4.5. This is against a southpaw. The Yankees do not typically hit left-handers well. That's the reason why you're probably somehow, some way going to see Dominguez out there taking at bats right-handed. I'm not going to say it's a sure thing, but we've seen crazier things, right? Ben Rice, I'm going to assume will be playing tomorrow. I know he got drilled today by a pitch. He should be playing. And yesterday, I'm going to add, last but not least, we were 3-0 in our picks. Rodon's K's, the Yankees winning, and Kyle Gibson under 14.5 outs. I actually had a little bit of a scare there, right? I thought he was going to pitch garbage time and ruin that for us. But if you guys are signing up with ProfitX, make sure you use our code YANKSU. When you sign up, it'll be a huge help for your boys at Yankees Unloaded. So thank you guys, and we will talk to you tomorrow.